All right, I want to start this video off by first apologizing. You can probably hear the fan in the background here. It is well into the 90s. Actually, it's cooled off a little bit. I think it's only high 80s right now. But I don't have air conditioning. This part of the country used to not get hot. Since the temperature on average is rising across the world, it gets hot now. So they built this apartment without air conditioning because they didn't think we would ever need it. But what we got going on today is another short video from this YouTube channel, Talk TV. This is Kevin O'Sullivan and then Alex Phillips. So they're going to be talking about immigration in the UK, and we're going to respond. It's going to be great. Before we get started, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube does unsubscribe people every single day. Find me on Rumble, Twitter, BitChute, Odyssey. Let's get into here.
Listen, you saw this story today. 3,000 incidents of violence against women and girls every single day, up 37% in 4 years. The National Police Chiefs Council and the College of Policing are talking about a change of the whole system to turn the tide without meaningful collaboration action, and women and children will continue to be failed. Well, you know, nice words, but what's going on here? Because that is not going to cure this problem. What's happening?
Well, what's happening is you're allowing women to vote. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but women vote these policies into place. Women vote these politicians who want to support this mass immigration of people who are anti-female, or at least anti the Western female, who want to come here, young men going to the UK to get women who look like the woman here in this video. That's what they want to do. They want to have this woman. They want to gang violate her, possibly even end her life in the process.
Happening?
Yeah, so there's a number of things happening. First of all, there's a proliferation of what I'd call the pornification of society. Look, I'm not a reborn Mary Whitehouse. If people want to watch pornography and they're adults and they go and get a DVD from a shop or whatever, that's one thing. But what you have now are these user-generated porn websites where anybody can look at them regardless of their age, and the content on those websites is just horrific. It's extreme. So that's one element. And what these reports...
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that that actually has anything to do with it. In fact, statistically speaking, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some counter-arguments to this, and I don't remember those counter-arguments. If you do know them, please go down in the comments and let me know them. But I've heard, statistically speaking, the more that pornography is made available, the less sexual violence we see in a culture. Don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's a counter-argument to it. I think there is. I've heard some. Like I said, I don't remember them. So.
Don't say is the average number now of the perpetrator is 15 years old. The average age of the victim is 13 years old. This is child on child sexual violence. And what is happening is this is within families. This is cousins. This is brothers and sisters. This is because children, this isn't about Andrew Tate. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Andrew Tate, but this isn't about him. This is about children watching adult content and trying to process it and acting out behaviors they're seeing online.
Again, I don't know that you can draw that conclusion. I have heard that there's research being done into the age of the perpetrator, the male perpetrator, and how that correlates with their highest levels of testosterone. So there is some correlation there with age and all that. And it does make sense because I remember what it was like when I was 15. And those hormones were crazy strong. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't try to hurt anyone. But I can see how that could lead some young men, some teenage boys, to wanting to force this activity.
That's one element. The other element, which is something I've been talking about a lot, is the fact that we've had a huge influx of men from different cultures where women, frankly, do not enjoy the same sorts of rights that they do here. The right just to be safe in your own home, the right not to be battered by your husband, the right not to be harassed on the street. So that's another element of all of this. And you mix...
Wait, are you telling me that women actually have these rights now? Because I've been hearing for years now how women don't have any rights in the West. The husband can just go up and just do whatever he wants to do to a woman. And we all know those rights, that a husband doesn't have the right to do whatever he wants to do to his wife anymore. That all those privileges that a husband had were taken away, I think, as long ago as the late 80s. So, yeah, you have to treat your wife with the utmost dignity and respect, even though she might be walking all over you.
the two together, where you've got men from cultures where women frankly walk around in hijabs or they're not allowed out without a male escort. You've got people traffickers saying, oh yeah, come to England, you should see the women there. They're looking at online pornography and they're seeing a lot of women who frankly look like me and not like the women back at home. You mix all of that together with at the same time, the narrative that women should go out and be free and enjoy the world. And if you think that there's a man from another culture who you're a little bit concerned about, you're probably a racist. So check yourself with the way you act, meaning that women are losing their self-defense mechanisms. You mix the whole lot together and you have a cocktail for horror. And those statistics, that report says 3,000 cases of violence against women every day. Violence. What about the harassment? What about the following people down the streets?
I thought that harassment in England was now considered violence. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're English, if you're from the UK, maybe you can get down in the comments and let me know if harassment is considered violence across the pond there.
Because you've had that yourself, haven't you? You're telling me in your walk from the station to your house, and I think a lot of women experience this. And what I'd like to ask you here, the police, as you quite rightly alluded to there, Alex, are sort of saying, oh, well, it's down to all these awful male influencers like Andrew Tate. Well, I would suggest that one of the other causes of this problem, and I know this from you and from other women who have complained to the police are not exactly particularly proactive on this kind of issue. All
right, well, am I one of those awful influencers like Andrew Tate? I don't like Andrew Tate. I don't like his content. But I do want to see women try to get back into the home, raise the children, focus on family first, and then worry about a job or a career if they are so inclined. So I must be one of those awful influencers. Don't hurt women. Please do not hurt women. I love women. I think they're amazing. Don't hurt them. Obviously, self-defense is a different story. But no, don't violate them either. Don't violate anyone. That's disgusting and wrong. There, is that clear enough for everybody?
They ought to have a look at the plank in their own eye before taking splinters out of someone else's, right?
And frankly speaking, Andrew Tate and influencers like Andrew Tate are basically a symptom of a bigger problem. It's a bit like talking about weight loss in the context of cancer. What we're talking about is a whole generation of men who are being brought up on instant gratification, all of the cultural mores that we once lived by.
Instant gratification. Instant gratification. Let me see. When was the last time I got what I wanted? Just instantly. Yeah, food-wise, it's pretty easy for me to get what I want. Entertainment-wise, pretty easy for me to get what I want, or at least some form of entertainment. But other biological urges, I mean, that's why my channel exists, really. Is this woke garbage taking away men's access to women, really. That's what it comes down to. Men want to be with women. Women don't want to be with men. And this has been a problem that's been going on for over 100 years now. Because women are being told that they're special. And yeah, I could agree to that in some sense, but there's half the population is female. You're not special.
Which was man and wife and nuclear family and fidelity and respect. That's all been destroyed at the altar of wokeism. Christianity's been given a kick in the rear. And now everyone's creating neo-religions where if a man puts on a frock and comes in the bathroom, then that's wonderful. That should be celebrated. Fetish is a wonderful thing that we should all
I think that they're correct when they say that. This is all a new religion. The woke religion. It's a secular religion. And it's getting out of hand. They're not creating a new religion. They're just creating new branches of the same religion. It's just like saying, oh, Christianity. Well, Christianity is 50,000 different sects of Christianity. And, there's dozens of sects of wokeism, ways to express your woke religion.
Embrace, isn't it gorgeous? It's ridiculous. And it's no surprise to me that these statistics show that in the last 4 years alone, that the rate of violence against women has gone up because actually the situation has completely mushroomed. Whenever I talk to people about this, anecdotally, like I've spoken to you, Kev, I say that, I've been living in London for 10 years and I find that things have changed in the last 2. Yeah. I lived here for about 8 years, completely fine. I'd walk to the pub, back from the pub, completely, by myself, happily, felt safe. Violence and harassment are through the roof. And any woman walking the streets of London who, frankly, is attractive to an opposite sex is going to know this. To coin a term of the left wing, lived experience. Now, you've got a lot of women banging the drum going, it doesn't happen to me. I've never had this. Why don't you like diversity? And I'm like, well, do you have long blonde hair? I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
if other people can talk about lived experience, so can women, young white women who look a certain way, which is fetishized in pornography, which is fetishized to these young men from other countries. Then we actually have a completely different day-to-day existence from other women wading in there trying to silence us.
Now, shutting down big mouth con men like Andrew Tate, I don't think is going to solve the problem. What do you think could at least alleviate this alarming explosion of violence against women?
I wonder if they think that all of us, people who are, influencers who are against the woke, against the progressive view of women, are con men. If he actually knows the history of Andrew Tate. Going on the internet and bragging about conning people out of their money, about conning men out of their money. I mean, if he knows that, then okay, I can let that slide. But if he's just saying he's a con man just because, he's a con man just like all these other influencers, that's BS. I'm not a con man. I'm not trying to con anybody out of anything. All I want to do is see people be happier and healthier. And the way to do that is to get women back in the home. Let men lead the family. Somebody has to lead the family. And we've seen what happens when we put women in leadership roles. This woman's complaining about it right now.
Women, what might solve the problem?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but frankly, the horse has already bolted.
I get that, yeah.
Immigration policy. But we need to have an adult conversation about pornography. I'm not a prude, but when it was sort of like still pictures in a magazine, when it was DVDs that people had to be 18 to rent, that was very different to the content that is widely available to everybody online, regardless of age. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you're having a lot of men in from a different culture, then surely they need to be spoken to about the way we do things here. That would
speak to them. That's going to change their minds. Hey, you know what, guys? We don't put our wieners in the butts of little boys around here. We don't do that. That's not okay. If somebody says no, don't do that to me, you don't do that to them. It doesn't matter if they're a woman. It doesn't matter if they're a child. You don't do that to them. Yeah, that's going to stop them from doing this stuff. It's not going to stop anybody who wants to do this, because they have a completely different view of how you should be treated based on the Word of God. They're not going to go against the Word of God. God is the ultimate authority in the universe.
Would be at least a start. The third thing is, let's actually get some data on this. Don't take my words and my empirical evidence and my anecdotal evidence. Actually collect the statistics of crime. Other countries do. And when you look at countries like Denmark and Sweden and Germany and France, where they collect this data, you are actually seeing a huge uptick in assault and rape, largely from men who have come into the country, not the domestic population. If we do those basic things and realize we live in a wild, wild west of sexual proclivity, that we're actually having children sexualized from a young age, that pornification has become normalized, and on top of that, a load of men are coming from countries who don't respect women's rights. You look at all of that, you analyze the data, and you talk about it. What I'm fed up with is being silenced about this, because women are being harassed, abused, assaulted, and raped on a daily basis, and this latest report demonstrates that we need to do something.
Yeah, we don't need to analyze the data. We know what the data says. It's like, okay, we let in a bunch of people who have a different cultural background, a different idea how we should treat women and children. And then all of a sudden, violence against women goes up. Wow, what a coincidence. It's almost as if letting people into your country is a bad idea. Let's see if there's anything down here in the comments. Why aren't there hundreds of thousands of young single female migrants? Oh, if there are young single men, where are the women? Yeah, they're leaving the women behind. But also, you have countries like India where men outnumber women because of the infanticide. Same thing in China. But I mean, in China, they're having other problems with leftover women. We'll get into a video about that. That's going to be awesome. If you didn't vote reform, then you have no right to complain. A vote for Tory, Labour, Lib Dem, Green, SNP was a vote to import third world men with third world attitudes. There you go. And I wouldn't even call it third world. It's just a backwards attitude based on, customs that have been perpetuated for hundreds of years. 92% of small boat crossings were young males. Migrants used to mean families huddled together, looking tired and desperate, not young blokes in clean clothes and phones. Something very dodgy going on. Yeah. This is an entitled migrant problem. They do it because there are no consequences for their vile behavior. Yeah. Mass assault for women. New Year's Eve 2015 in Cologne, Germany, was largely censored in the Western media. Many people have never heard of it. Try looking it up. Extraordinary yet true. Go Alex. Yeah, I remember that happening, and I don't remember hearing any reports of full-on violation, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's just what I heard. I mean, there was like touching and groping and stuff like that was going on, but still, that's not okay. And they call Slovakia racist for not wanting immigrants. Yeah, there you go. I know, I'm an evil racist bastard because I don't want people coming into my country. Wow. You know? And you might call me a hypocrite because my wife came to this country. But you know what? If she hadn't come to this country, I'd still be saying the same thing. If she had, obviously she has come to the country. And, you know, it's kind of all sorts of twists and turns we get in our lives. That's just how my life shook out. Maybe if American women were more interested in having long-term relationships instead of situationships. This is what I was going through when I was dating. You know, these girls like, I just like want to hang out for a little bit, and then like, I'll call you in a few weeks. And what are you doing in between? Who are you doing in between? You know, in fact, I know that they were doing, because I know that they were in relationships. It's like, wait, you want to get back together with me? What about so and so? Oh, what about him? Aren't you in a relationship with him? Yeah, so. Okay, then forget you. I'm not gonna get with you. So I had to settle for a woman who came here from another country. Anyway, story of my life. That's all I got for this time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.